Good afternoon, everybody. 2:02 Costa Rica time. I'm a little bit late. And I will tell you, are we actually live? Yep, we are. Hello, Fiona. I got to tell you, not 10 seconds ago when we were going live, I said to Kenneth, my sidekick here, like, I'm not ready. But we're going live anyway. That's the nature of these Facebook Lives that are scheduled. It's been one of those mornings or afternoons, I guess, that I just haven't been able to get my stuff together. So hopefully we have everything we need to get through this Facebook Live with y'all today. You can feel the wind, or maybe you guys can't feel the wind, but you can see the wind. I kind of feel that that's a metaphor for how I'm feeling today. I've just been kind of spinning around like a tornado. It's been one of those busy days of many guests leaving and many new beautiful guests arriving. So between, celebrating the week that was and being excited for the week that is and saying hellos and saying goodbyes, it's been one of those, it's just been a busy, busy morning. So I'm actually happy to be here with you right now in this moment where you can just be and talk about kale. So we're going to be talking about kale today, as you can probably tell by the name of this Facebook Live, All Hail Kale, the Queen of Green. And I'm going to get into a little bit about kale and the history and the stories that we all seem to have around kale momentarily, but I'm just going to wait to see how many more people we get online. We got Kenneth is watching. Kenneth, come on over and say hello. Just today we had a guest arrive.
Hi, Ward. How are you?
Just today we had a guest arrive, and I witnessed the guest, a gentleman, what was his name? Who said he recognized you from, I can't remember, Greg maybe? Or Gary? Yeah, he arrived and he immediately saw Kenneth and said, "Oh, I know you. I've seen you on those videos." He's like, "We're working with that." And then he pointed to me and said, "With that young lady," and I was very flattered being called a young lady. So it's pretty cool that we're doing these lives every week, and then we get to meet the people in person when they arrive here on site at Rythmia. And so we're super, super stoked about it. But before I get any further into this, I want to tell you guys about a little contest that we've got going on here at Rythmia. If you haven't heard already, our owner and founder of this wonderful retreat center, Jerry Powell, has written a book. And this is the book here. It's called Shit the Moon Said. It's widely available on Amazon right now. I actually just read it cover to cover myself last week, and it's incredibly, written, and it really, tells the story in such a beautiful way of Jerry and his miracle and how we got, how Rythmia came to be. And we have a contest going on until April 1st. And all you need to do is get yourself a copy of this book. And on your social media, hashtag #ShitTheMoonSaid, and just recommend this book to all the people in your life that you could use a miracle. So it's, from now until April 1st, picture of you with the book, hashtag #ShitTheMoonSaid, and share the love. We want to get as much information out there as we can about the plant medicine and how it can change lives. So please do that. This is Jerry's book. And since we're on the topic of books, I happen to have a little book myself. We actually just got 600 copies into the gift shop here at Rythmia yesterday. So my book, Miracle Meals, Simple High-Frequency Plant-Based Recipes. This is a book that is, I'm going to come around and show you. It is a collection of all of the most requested Rythmia recipes. Yes, the vegan, gluten-free banana muffin recipe is in here. That's the basis for the book. But many of the soups, dips, and salad dressings, there's a ton of stuff in here. Available on Amazon, also available here in our gift shop. Miracle Meals. I believe it's listed on Amazon as these two can be frequently bought together for under $40. So that's a heck of a deal if you ask me. So go ahead and grab yourself copies of those. I don't have a contest going for my book yet, but maybe we'll look into that. Oh, and I didn't mention the contest based around Jerry's book. The prize is a free trip to Rythmia. So this is we're not messing around here. So again, until April 1st, get a copy of the book, hashtag #ShitTheMoonSaid on your social media, and you could win a chance to come to stay with us here at Rythmia for free. So that's super cool, guys. Check it out. So who do we got here online with us today? I can see Linda Young saying, "Hey, Meg, missed that wonderful food of yours at Rythmia." Oh, thank you so much. Jason is here saying he's cleansing after the eclipse. Window closed. Wind and Kale, yes, we're talking awesome things. Paul DeBruin, hey, Paul, nice to see you again. I think you're with us every week. Carrie Boyd. Now that's really funny because Carrie is actually a returning guest to Rythmia who's sitting at a table directly behind the laptop She's giving away, so she's watching over. She's just having her lunch. She just checked in today. She was here last May with me, and she's such a beautiful soul, and I was so excited to see her when she got here today. So that's great. We've got viewers from all over the place. We've got Barbara watching. She says hello. I say hi, Barbara. I've got Linda Grace Churchill saying howdy. Who else? Shane is watching. They're arriving on Saturday. Amazing. And Linda's saying, looking forward to your food in April. Oh, so we've got lots of arriving guests watching online today. Super excited. Hey guys, a couple of new ladies I'm waving hello to. And did I already referenced all that stuff. Okay, perfect. So Kenneth is over here. He's going to be, so I don't have to keep doing this the whole time. Kenneth is going to be tracking your comments and questions as we go through the live today. And as for always, he will let me know and write on a little board here so I can see what's going on. Oh, all hail Kale. I made this decision to do this Facebook Live about a month and a half ago when I was coming up with different ideas for content. And just this week, I was speaking with some guests that were here about kale and the fact that I was going to focus on it this week. And they immediately had some negative things to say about the beautiful green leaf. And I know that if you study a lot of nutrition in the news, there has been some controversy about kale in the past. I'm of the mind that anything in excess could be a problem. And I think that is, if you've read about kale having, negative effects on the body, for me, in my opinion, it's because it became so popular, a few years back, and everyone was ODing on it and eating kale smoothies, kale chips, kale massage, kale this, kale that, all the live long day. And anything, if you have anything in too much, of course, if there's any sort of negative, component or chemical or toxic reaction that any food can give you, even in the most minute way, if you're eating a ton of it, then it's going to be bad. It's the same idea with eating too much tuna, for example. You're not going to get mercury or lead poisoning from eating, fish every once in a while, but if you're eating it every single day, that's when it can be a problem. So I don't feel like there's any green food out there that you shouldn't eat. At least a little bit. There's going to be health benefits to any green plant, fruit, or vegetable. So I say eat green. And kale is a powerhouse. It really and truly is. It's a great source of vitamin K, which we don't get a lot in our diet. It's a great source of many different phytonutrients.
Barbara needs to know the name of the book.
Barbara wants to know the name of the book. Is this backwards? No, it's forwards. So it's called Rythmia Miracle Meals. I think if you Googled it or looked it up on Amazon, it would just be under Miracle Meals. And then the tagline is Simple, High-Frequency, Plant-Based Meals by Meg Pearson. So it's available on Amazon. It's also available through my website, as is my first cookbook, which is called Map Wellness Morsels. And you can find that through my website, meganpearson.ca. And that first cookbook is 95% vegan and, it's 100% vegan and 95% raw. There's a couple of cooked recipes in there. And I wrote that book back in 2013. Book number 3, that's going to be based around my Meg's Magic Sauce, which is the yum sauce here at Rythmia. That's going to be coming out later in 2018. And that's going to be full of food philosophy, utilitarianisms, as well as a huge handful of recipes that have helped mold my philosophy around food and the way that I eat and the way that I think is a really accessible and simple way for many of us to perhaps mold our attitudes and diets around. Ooh, the chalkboard just went down. I told you it was windy here. Just had a little bit of a topple over with our big board. So I was just talking about kale, and the great things that you've probably heard, and I still stand by, is the fact that kale, per calorie, which I don't like to talk about calories, but as far as a comparison factor, per calorie, it actually has more plant protein and digestible and assimilated protein than beef. For example, I think I've talked briefly about, how animal protein versus plant protein is assimilated in the body, and that plant protein can actually be a lot simpler for your body to utilize to build, to break down into amino acids and build protein in your own body. So that's really great. It's also got tons of calcium, vitamin K, like I talked about. Obviously, it's super green, full of chlorophyll. So it's a really, really amazing food to add to your diet. You don't want to make it your mainstay. You don't want to focus every meal around it. You don't want to do that with any ingredient as far as I'm concerned. But kale is something good. And I just had, it's something good. That's the technical way I'm going to describe kale. It's something good. Kale, that's going to be the new shirt. Screw kale is the new beef. Kale, it's something good. It's ridiculous. I actually just had a fellow come by here when I was setting up saying that kale is one thing that he hasn't been able to get behind. He wants to eat it. He wants to eat as many healthy things as he can, but kale he just can't seem to enjoy. So I told him we were probably going to change his mind about that this week. by serving him a few of these recipes. So the first thing I'm going to make with you today is massaged kale. And this is another recipe idea that I was talking about with guests just this morning. He was asking, this other guest was asking me how we do the kale. We had kale on the buffet today, and it was a really simple version of massaged kale. And I believe that recipe is in this book. Let's have a little gander here, because I'm not going to do this specific recipe. By the way, my book has a little foreword by Jerry Powell in there. He wrote a little ditty, the introduction to my book, which is super sweet. Under, yes, Super Salad, page 59. If you want to follow along at home, if you have the cookbook in your hymn books. Just kidding. Really, I was saying to Kenneth that today how tired I am, and I wasn't sure how I was going to get through this. But, okay. So the massaged kale salad is on page 59, and it's super easy. For my recipe here, it's just kale, lemon, olive oil, apple cider vinegar, honey, and sea salt. And you can swap out the honey for any other sweetener that you want to use. You could use agave, you could use maple syrup. You could swap out the apple cider vinegar and just do lemon. There's many different things you can do. And I'm going to show you this, Kenneth. There's a bit of a printing problem. Anyway, so what we're going to do today is a curry kale version of that. So super, super easy. First thing I'm going to do today, because I'm doing this on the TV and I'm not just doing this for home, is I'm going to add my fancy rubber gloves. I was going to make some jokes. I'm not going to. I think I made my month's quota of dirty sexual innuendo jokes last week in the aphrodisiac video. If you haven't watched it yet, you can go back and check that out on the Rythmia Facebook page. We talked about testicle trees, licking honey. Kenneth talked an awful lot about almond oil and how he wants more of that in his life because it is an aphrodisiac for women, the scent of almond oil. Right, Kenneth? Have you been able to find yourself some almond oil to use? He has. There we go. He's using it. Is it working?
Very well.
Very well. Conversation over. Not going into any more details with that on the Facebook. So I got my gloves on because I'm actually going to literally massage my kale. What I've got here is I've just got some kale that I've washed and dried and ripped off the stem. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to give this a little bit more of a finer cut. Because when I'm massaging the kale, the idea here is, there's many different reasons. For me, I like the texture of massaged kale. I find raw kale is far too fibrous. I know that a lot of people have issues digesting kale. I was just speaking to someone yesterday. Oh, my friend Moran, who's staying with me right now. He was telling me that kale quite often gives him some gut pain. He gets a stomach ache when he eats it. And it's quite often because of the fiber and the cellulose and all of the really strong, fibers that consist in certain vegetables like kale and cabbages and stuff like that. People can have some trouble digesting it. So first step I'm going to do is I'm going to chop it kind of like almost like a fine shred, like you would do a cabbage for like a coleslaw or something. Hasta luego. The same, but so again, it's 2 o'clock today, so my morning staff are heading home to enjoy their Sunday fun day, and the afternoon staff are arriving. So I'm not going to go too much more crazy than that right now. You can see that I've got it kind of into a bit of a finer shred. And that's perfect. And it smells strong. Like kale is a green vegetable, man. Like it is. We're not messing around when we're adding kale into our diet. That is for certain. So kale is our first ingredient. So the next thing we're going to add in are our flavorings, and this is a super easy recipe because all we're going to do is add everything into the bowl, and mix it. So the first thing I've got here is just some olive oil, and as per always, I'm going to add the recipe in the comments here to all of the things that we're doing today, so you guys can go ahead and make this at home because I'm not properly measuring today. The next thing I'm going to add in is ginger. So this is just some grated ginger, and I've gone ahead and used my microplane once again, which I've talked about in videos in the past, and some garlic. So I've got some garlic here that's also been minced up. Super yummy. I say super a lot. I think maybe for one of these Facebook Lives, we should do a contest, and whoever tallies out the accurate number of times I say super good, super awesome, super delicious, super healthy wins a prize, maybe a copy of my book, because I say super a lot, and I need to be more conscious of it because it's kind of ridiculous. What do you guys think about that? Shall we do that maybe next week? Okay, next ingredient is cayenne. This is an awful lot of cayenne. I'm just going to add a little pinch. Curry powder. This is our curry kale. And again, you can swap out all of these seasonings for whatever kind of seasonings you want. Like you can massage your kale with the base liquids, which is olive oil, freshly squeezed lemon juice, and then a sweetener of any source, honey, maple syrup, agave, like we talked about. And you could swap out the curry for, say, herb de Provence. You could swap out the, not put in the ginger and add a bit more garlic or less garlic. You could, use things like a Mexican flair, like use a chili powder and some cinnamon. This is totally flexible. This is just showing you that a regular massage kale that's just the acid and the oil, you can, kick it up a notch with flavoring. And then the last ingredient I'm going to add here is raisins. So this is my sweetener. Instead of adding in honey or whatever, I'm using just some raisins, which is going to, as we massage it, a tiny bit of the flavor of the raisins is going to be imbued. I'm just making words up now. I think I've talked about that in the past too, that sometimes now that I speak two languages, más o menos, more or less, I get a little bit confused. Hey, we're live on Facebook. Do you want to come say hi to our guests? Introduce yourself?
Jason.
Because this is perfect. Oh my God, I just got really excited because I'm massaging the kale and one of our amazing massage therapists is just walking up. Come say hi. You have to now.
Listen, Jason says because you are super Canadian.
I am super Canadian. Do Canadians say super a lot? I've been out of the country too long. I'm not really sure. You gotta come say hi. You look fabulous. So introduce yourself.
Hi, how are you? My name is Pearson. Nice to see you. Just through the web.
Perfect. Am I doing well? How's my massage technique from massaging the kale?
Excellent.
It's excellent. There we go. What perfect timing is that? Have a good afternoon. So, as part of the, I'm standing on my tiptoes for some reason. Not sure why. As part of the Rythmia program here, you get some massages included in your package. How many massages do each guest get?
For day 7.
But if a guest comes for 7 days, they have 2 massages?
2 massages.
2 massages a week. Pretty cool. Included in the price. And we have an amazing team of practitioners here. So there we go. There we go. There we go. And look at that. So beautiful. Well, who wants to come? Do you want to come and taste test this since you're here? Okay. So this is my massage kale. Come on over. I don't have a fork, but you can grab one of these spoons and see what you can do. So this is a curry. Yeah, there's a spoon. Grab a spoon.
Charlotte said more kale, and more kale.
Amen, Charlotte. I like your style. I didn't add any sea salt. You need some salt, I think, right?
Delicious.
Let me add a bit of salt, and we can see if you can say that if maybe it'll be super delicious with salt.
Good.
Super good? Oh,
Excellent.
see, I didn't even mean to say super, and I said super. My goodness, you guys. Okay, so look at that. And look at the color of that. So let's just do a little compare as we dare, shall we? Texture and color of fresh versus massaged with loving care and ginger and curry. Completely different, right? And the texture has become super suave, again, with the Spanglish. The texture has become soft, like almost like it's been steamed or blanched. And so the texture, for people that don't want to have the super raw, the texture itself is super good. God, I can't stop with the super. But it's going to be a little bit easier on your digestion. Like that. So that's our massage kale. Super, ooh, really easy. I'm just going to put this in the fridge below for now. I can't believe how much I can't stop saying that word. It's ridiculous. Okay. So the next recipe I'm going to talk about, but I'm not going to demo because we've done many recipes just like that, is a kale pesto. So I think the pesto that I've done in the past here on the Facebook Live has been a kale basil pesto. So I personally, like I said, the kale is a super strong, very strong flavor. So I would not personally prefer a kale-only green pesto. I would always add in another herb, whether that be basil or cilantro, a combination of the two, parsley, a little bit of mint, adding in a tiny bit of tarragon, like whatever greens you really enjoy. I would maybe do 50% kale and 50% the other. If you're really into green, you could do 75% kale, 25% the other, but just experimenting with that. And I'm going to give you, I think in my cookbook my first cookbook, I have a kale pesto, a pesto that's kale and basil. So I'm going to give you guys that same one. And for the nuts that are going to be included in this recipe, it's going to be pecans and cashew. So it's kale, basil, parsley, olive oil, pecans, cashew, lemon, garlic, and sea salt. And it's all super, very easy. In your food processor or your blender, you just add all those ingredients until you come to the texture you want. I like texture. This one that I've made earlier is a little bit more runny on the runny side. I've added a bit more oil. This would be a great one for coating pasta and whatnot. If you want to have something a little bit of thicker pesto for things like using as a sandwich spread, just go with a little bit less oil, maybe a little bit more nuts, and then play with your lemon and seasonings accordingly. So Kale Pesto, the second way. So we've got massage kale and a Kale Pesto, two really great ways to include kale in your life. Hi, Meg says, Asan. Oh, that's a beautiful name, Asan. Maria Mackenzie says, hi, Meg. Hello, Marina. Nice to see you. Fiona Maya says, best massages ever. Rythmia, thank you. I'm going to pass that on to the spa team. More kale, more kale, more kale. I love that. And thank you, Leah.
Because Leah put the they don't read good again the name, and Leah put the name of the book.
The book. Awesome. Thank you for that sharing of the information. Beautiful. I'm going to touch base on both of the books again at the end of the broadcast today. So the next favorite recipe of mine for kale is kale chips. I mean, they're my favorite.
Barbara, say if the book is online or not.
The book is online. It's on Amazon. And it's also on my website. You can buy my book and Jerry's book together for under $40 on Amazon. I'm sure if you just put into the Amazon book search Rythmia, both of them would come up for you. This is Jerry's again, Chickpeas said. And this one's mine, Miracle Meals. And if you're coming to Rythmia in the next few weeks or months, we've got plenty of coffee series. You can buy it here and I can give it a little sign and scribble in any other information that you might want from me in person, including my website and email information and all that. All right. So the next recipe is kale. And this is a chip recipe that I wrote for my first cookbook. I didn't actually write it for my first cookbook. I wrote it for my blog. And I think for a magazine that I might have been writing for in Toronto years ago, 6-7 years ago. And it is my easy, cheesy, pumpkin seedy kale chips. Want to come over and try one? And you got to try it on camera so that people can see your face and know that you're not lying if you made it.
Yeah, I don't like to lie.
No.
I'll be honest.
Tastes like another, he says.
Crispy.
Crispy. So, quite often you see these kale chips, and I'm going to probably eat the rest of this plate for my lunch after this. Well, part of my lunch after this, not going to lie. A lot of kale chips that you see, so good. So lemony.
Yes. When you see some movies, corn pop is better this way.
Like popcorn? Better than popcorn? Better than popcorn. But you can, a lot of the, if you live in North America or Europe or wherever now, there's probably tons of different kale chips that you can, I'm slobbering a little bit. My mouth is watering, it's so delicious. There's probably different kale chip companies providing, selling them in little, clamshell containers and bags at grocery stores and stuff like that. Quite often those ones are made in the dehydrator, which we've also talked a lot about here on the Facebook Live. But these ones I actually did in the oven today because I wanted a recipe that everyone could try. So it's easy. Easy, cheesy, pumpkin seedy kale chips. And all I did here was I took my kale. So just what I did before, I washed it and I dried it. Drying the kale is super important for this recipe. So I took the pieces off the stem. So you're going to end up with big pieces like this. Just carefully. I don't have a kale leaf. Can you do me a favor? Will you grab a whole kale leaf that's still on the stem? I'm going to have Kenneth, he's running to the kitchen right now to grab me a whole leaf so I can show you how I destem them really easily. But the idea is you want to destem them, wash them, and dry it really well. And to dry them really well, if you're in a hurry, either use your salad spinner on kind of gently because you don't want to bruise them too much, or I just lie a clean tea towel and then lie my leaves, fold a tea towel over, or put another tea towel on top and just press it to dry and give that a couple of goes, and then you'll end up with some nice dry kale chips. And don't worry if your kale chips are a little bit limp because we're going to end up heating them in the oven anyway. So the recipe is super easy. You just grab a bunch of these kale leaves once they're washed and dried, put them in a big bowl, and then we add our coating. And the really simple coating for my recipe is just olive oil, sea salt, and then the zest and the juice of lemon. Super easy. That's your base kale chip recipe. The lemon adds a nice punch and a citrus note to it. It gives a little bit more flavor. It cuts some of the earthiness that kale tends to have. Then you can go ahead and add other seasonings. You could add curry powder like we did with the massage kale. You could add in some raisins. But what I went and did today, thank you. Look at this beautiful bouquet. If I ever get married again, which I'm never going to do, this would be mine. What's it called? Bouquet. But I'm not going to ever do that again. Anyway, back to the recipe. I'm going to show you this real quick. So this is our leaf. You can see this really thick, sturdy stem. And depending on the age of your kale, it could be super thick. Like this guy's got a really thick stem. So all you need to do is grab your kale, stem up, grab your other finger, place it. What's going to be the easiest for you guys to see? There we go. And then just run, holding firmly on the end, running your hands down the length And then, dun, 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 you got one big honking piece of leaf. Shall we do a close-up? Dun, 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 dun. Beautiful. And then these, don't throw these out. These stems are really good juiced. Or you could dehydrate them and then pulverize them and make your own greens powder. I used to do that all the time. I would just throw any of my stems of any green that I was finished using, instead of tossing them or juicing them, I would put them in my dehydrator, or you could do it in your oven really low and slow, and then powder it and make your own green powder instead of spending crazy amounts of money on those packaged green powders. Just an idea. So back to the recipe. Where were we? We were talking about the base ingredients for kale chips: olive oil, lemon zest, lemon juice, sea salt. Done. Bang. Put it in a bowl, mix it with your hands, just enough to coat. And then what I like to do is I'll lay out my torn up leaves on a big baking sheet. I have a big oven, so I have a big baking sheet. At home, your baking sheet's not going to be nearly as big. I'm certain of it. But I will just lay those olive oil, lemon leaves all over my baking sheet. And then I'll add different additives. So today, what I've added is pumpkin seeds. I'm sure you can see maybe. There's pumpkin seeds on there, as well as my dear friend, nutritional yeast, which we talked about many different Facebook Lives. And this is what gives it a nice cheesy taste. So these are easy, cheesy, pumpkin seedy kale chips. So this is the cheese component, the nutritional yeast, and the pumpkin seeds. There's a little rogue leaf right there. Super good. And then as far as baking them goes, 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's going to be kind of low and slow. And you just want them to slowly dry out. You don't want your oven too hot because you don't want your outer leaves to burn. You want the temperature to be just right so that you can slowly dry them out. So the leaves get crunchy, but they don't get black. So you really got to pay attention. I did mine in my oven today. I did a little bit higher than 200 because I was in a bit of a hurry. As I said, I was running around a little bit crazy today. I did it about 350, but I was right there standing by the oven checking it. I rotated the pan a couple of times, and then as soon as the leaves around the outer edge of the tray started getting crispy, I pulled it out. So some of my leaves that on this tray aren't the crispiest. They're not the crispiest chips in the bag, but delicious nonetheless. And they're already pretty soggy because it's pretty humid here, but I still think they taste good, crunchy or soggy or whatever. And then these are a great little dish to have. They really step up any plate that you're creating. If you're making if you're having a dinner party and you're doing like a salad, you're doing all the fresh lettuces and fresh vegetables with a nice salad dressing, and then adding a couple of kale chips on top for a nice crispy texture is always a nice addition to any meal. Okay, where are we at for time? 2:30. I've got 7 minutes if I want to stay within my usual time frame. And so today we're just going to talk briefly about the kale Caesar. All hail Kale Caesar. And here at Rythmia today at lunch, actually, and I didn't even plan it that way, but we served our vegan kale, our vegan Caesar, in which I use romaine lettuce. But we can easily edit that recipe to use kale, or 50% kale and 50% romaine. Romaine is the traditional lettuce used for Caesar salad, but why not substitute partial kale? Partial kale. I'm missing another bowl. He gave me another mixing bowl. I'm sorry, Kenneth, my bad. So I've got here in my little chafing tray kale and romaine. So I'm going to go ahead. The romaine is cut into like perfect little Caesar-esque, Caesar salad sizes. And what I need to do next is just cut up some of my kale here. So I'm just going to give this a quick run through with my knife so that they're going to be in bite-sized pieces. And then what we're going to do live is we're going to actually make the Caesar dressing. And then we're going to plate it because I've got some components that I want you guys to test out. And you're going to kill me, Kenneth. There's one other thing that I just thought of. I think, perfect thing. I think in the kitchen, in the cold room of the kitchen, behind the scenes action here, guys, sorry. In the cold room on the shelf, there's a glass jar, one of the big mason jars with nutritional yeast in it, but it's the vegan Parmesan that we made a couple weeks ago. Sorry, guys. So I got some of my kale chopped up here. I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to add some leaves of my romaine just to get our base ingredients going here. So that's done. And I'm going to set this to the side. And now for our dressing, which is super simple, and also in the cookbook, I do recall dressings and dips. It's not here, but on page 65 under the salads, it is. Plant-powered Caesar with chickpea croutons. This is kind of what we're going for here today, my friends. Amazing. I'm going to be doing, I think maybe next week, I'm doing a whole Facebook Live on the cookbook on Miracle Meals, and I'm giving some recipes that are in there, so that's fun. So into my food processor, we're going to add our ingredients for a dressing. And the main ingredient, what's going to give us our creaminess, is sunflower seeds. Quite often you've seen me use cashews for a lot of recipes where I was looking for a dairy-free, creamy consistency, but today we're using sunflower seeds. So this is a nice lower cost, somewhat easier digestible option. I haven't had these soaking. You could have them soaking, and that would definitely help with some of the bioavailability of the nutrition, and as well, if you don't have a super high-powered blender, that would be a great option as well. Is there anything I want to take note? Can I buy that a bookstore, not online? You can buy my book, and both of these books here at Rythmia in the gift shop. I'm not sure if you can buy them online anywhere else. I'm sorry, in person anywhere else. So I got my sunflower seeds. The next thing we're going to add in is our flavor base. So I'm going to add in a good pinch of sea salt. Just some kosher sea salt. Again, lemon juice. Pretty basic ingredients as far as Caesar dressings go. Some black pepper. A little pinch of that. Olive oil. And it's not a ton of olive oil because I'm going to be using water, which is going to help break down the seeds because the seeds have quite a bit of fat in it. 2 garlic cloves because Caesar is, always quite garlicky. And then some Dijon mustard. Traditional Caesar salads also contain anchovies or anchovy paste. But since we're doing a plant-based version today, we're not going to do that. What we are going to add in is a sheet of nori. So I think in the past I've done my chickpea tuna salad here. Yeah, that's one. And we use dulse flakes. Today I'm opting to use nori because this is a pantry staple that if you have, you can do many things with it, like making sushi or maki. And then also having the leaves handmade to do things like this Caesar dressing. So that's the basis of our ingredients. Let me just make sure I'm not telling tales. Sunflower seeds, water, olive oil, lemon juice, Dijon, garlic. Soy sauce would be a nice addition. We don't have any of that today because we forgot it, but that's fine because we're going to actually have soy sauce in another ingredient that I'm going to be announcing shortly. So that's the base, and then we need to add some water, and that's just going to be how we get everything blending together. And, hi guys, bringing out some of the good fats from the the sunflower seeds. And again, add just enough water to blend, and then we can always add more if you want to thin out the recipe. So bear with me with the noise for a sec. Bada boom, bada bing. Oh, it smells delicious. Give it a little taste. Oh, and the nori. Need more salt. Yeah, a little bit more. It's a technical sound. A little bit more salt. Give that quick whirl. The texture is perfect. We put in just enough water. That's really good. That's really good, guys. Rinse my hand here. So, all we need to do is take a little bit of this, and I like to be very, what's the word? Generous. Generous with my dressing when it comes to Caesar. So I'm going to add in a few tablespoons there. Give it a good, no, I got my tongs. Give it a good mix. This brings me back. One of my first cooking jobs when I was a young teenager, probably 15, 16 years old, was at a pizza restaurant in my hometown. And I remember Caesar salad, it was like this pizza buffet. And the Caesar salad was super popular. And we used to mix, like I would have a 10-gallon pail or 5-gallon pail this big full of all the ingredients for romaine, and I would be like stirring like this. It would be like on the ground and be stirring so much Caesar salad. It was a really tasty Caesar salad. Not plant-based by any stretch of the imagination, but delicious nonetheless. Beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to add this to my serving plate. Again, we've got the mixture of the kale and the romaine. You could bypass one or the other. It's totally up to you guys. I would always serve salad dressing on the side as well. I like my Caesar salad super saucy. Other people like probably even more saucy. Perfect. So there's our beautiful Caesar as it stands. And then we have a couple of other components we're going to add in. I've got these spiced chickpeas. You might have seen this on Pinterest. A lot of people have been doing this. So it's like the idea of having cooked chickpeas that you then toast off in the oven with different seasonings. And this one we've done with cumin and paprika and a bit of cayenne and olive oil and sea salt. Super, super, super delicious. And that's going to be our crouton. So it's a nice gluten-free, protein-rich option. So pretty. Some red onions sliced in here would be good. I forgot my red onions, but that's fine. There's tons of garlic in the dressing, so it's quite potent as it is. The next thing I'm going to add in is coconut bacon. So this is really finely shredded coconut bacon that I've gone and made ahead of time, and it's an easy recipe. It's just a combination of olive oil, tamari or soy sauce, maple syrup, because that's pretty key, maple syrup as opposed to honey. Honey gets a little bit too sticky with the shreds of coconut, and maple syrup has just such a phenomenal flavor. And then if you're really feeling the bacon flavor, you could add in some liquid smoke. Now this is just a bottle of liquid smoke. I'm not going to recommend this as the healthiest option in the world because it's, I'm sure it's not. The ingredients are water, hickory smoke concentrate, and polysorbate 80. But the fact of the matter is we're going to use a couple of drops of it only because it's super strong and super potent, and it's going to give a little extra je ne sais quoi. So I'm sprinkling a little bit of my coconut bacon on top. Que rico. And then, if you were tuning in a couple of weeks ago, we did vegan cheeses, and we made a vegan Parmesan, and it was a combination of ground cashews. Hi, Nicole. Well, shout out to Nicole, our amazing breath worker extraordinaire, having lunch over there at the bar. Love you. She says she loves us. All of us. The whole world that's watching. But mostly me. Isn't that nice? Huh? You're going to love me even more when I bring you over my vegan Caesar. Yeah. So, we made the Parmesan, and it was cashews, almonds, nutritional yeast, garlic powder, and a bit of sea salt. And that is an awesome vegan Parmesan. It's a Parmesan substitute. So we're going to put a little bit of that on top here as well. I mean, and it looks like Parmesan. That's the really fun part. It looks like ground, fresh Parmesan. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm all about real Parmesan. I'm all about real cheese, but how fun is it when we can fake it? And I'm adding a bit of nutritional yeast as well. So pretty, right? Kenneth, what you say? It's pretty looking salad.
Pretty tasty.
Look at that. Some pickled red onions on there would be amazing. I think I've said super probably 37 times in this whole Facebook Live. So there you go. Vegan Caesar, kale romaine, kale chips, kale pesto, and ginger curried massaged kale. So there we go. 4 ways, kale 4 ways, all hail kale, the queen of green. Hope you guys try these recipes at home. Don't forget, we have the contest going on until April 1st. Buy the book, Ship the Moon Said on Amazon. Post it on your social media, hashtag Ship the Moon Said. Refer it to all your friends and family out there that you think could use a miracle in their life, and you could win a chance to come stay with us for free here at Rythmia. We're giving that away, so up until April 1st, go ahead and do that. And also Miracle Meals is available on Amazon as well. And that, my friends, is all I have to say. And I have my Facebook Live next week. I can't remember what the content is. Let's have a quick gander here. One of the guests was funny. They showed up today, and they're like, oh, so you're doing kale today in your Facebook Live? I'm like, yes, I am. How did you know? Super cool. 25th Facebook Live will be, I don't have a clue. I didn't make a note. So maybe Miracle Meals. I think it might be about Miracle Meals. So cookbook focused. So I promise to do some recipes that we haven't yet done here on the Facebook Live show on the Rythmia TV. And until then, I look forward to meeting any of you guys that will be coming in the next week or so. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. If you have any questions, I'm going to post the recipes. And that's all. That's it. Kenneth, do you have anything to say?
Nothing. Have safe home. And bye-bye.
And bye-bye. And we'll see you next week, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We love you. Mwah.
Pura vida.
Pura vida. We're still live.